guys, what's going on? Andrew coming at you. And this one I'm going to talk about the number one, the biggest difference between Sweden and the United States, according to me, of course. So there's many things I love about America. I think that I love American culture somewhat, although we have negative sides of it. I love our competitiveness. I love our innovation, and I like the people. I think we're quite friendly. But there's one area that we like really lack in, I think, compared to the rest of the world, especially Sweden, is that we don't do as good of a job of taking care of our own people. And just going into that, if you just talk about like life here in Sweden as opposed to the U.S., there is assistance for a lot of okay, number one, if you're a parent and your kid's sick in Sweden, you can stay home and take care of your kid, and you get paid from work. It's like an official thing. You get paid to stay home. In America, like in a lot of cases, like that doesn't happen. On top of that, you get paternal or maternal leave, and parents get to actually be home with their kids, and that is something that's not guaranteed in the U.S. And as much as I love America, I think it's ridiculous that we don't have it in place for the women in the United States, for our moms, for our mothers. Like, why do we not do this? I don't get it. And I think it's something that we should do. And on top of that, not just for the mothers, but for the dads as well, to get some time to be home. Because it used to be seen as, oh, only the woman is supposed to stay home or whatever. But, I think it's really great for a kid's development to have quality time with both of their parents. And so I really love this that happens in Sweden. Now, on top of that, we're like from birth, now we're moving up to school. School is free here in Sweden. Like, well, when you're in grade school, it doesn't cost anything to go to school, but you get a free lunch. So that's what I mean by being free. And then when you go to university, it's free. And on top of that, the government gives you some money to live off of. Now, the tuition doesn't cost anything, but you can get money like loaned to you to live while you're in university, and you have to pay that back, but it's such a small amount of money compared to my student loans, and you have like your whole life to pay it off. So you get such a head start here in Sweden by not being in crazy debt, where a lot of Americans like myself, we graduate and we're in debt. And for the people that just graduated and then COVID hit, I can't imagine you're in all this debt and now you don't have a job. And I'm sure they froze a lot of student loans, but it had to be a scary situation. Let's talk about your adult life. Well, when you're in the Sweden here in your adult life, you get 5 weeks off paid vacation. In some cases, it's more, I think, as you get older. In the US, maybe a week or two. And if you've been working for a while, possibly 3 weeks. I think that people's health and everything, you would definitely benefit from 5 weeks off as opposed to 2 or 3. And I feel like Americans don't take enough time off. And as hard as people work, and in some cases in America, they work super hard, but they're also in debt, and then they're never able to save money. I can't really imagine what that does to your mental health and just your physical health. I can imagine. I've been broke before, I've had issues with money before and trying to struggle and pay. So I know what it's like. On top of that, the student loan and trying to find a job. It's a lot to think about. And just getting that extra time off from work, I think, makes a huge difference. Now we're moving a little bit later in life, although I did talk about maternal leave and parental leave earlier. As you get older, you have assistance. Now, we have retirement and stuff in the States, and we have nursing home and stuff, but I just like how they do it here in Sweden. That, I could be, I don't think I'm wrong, but like if you don't own a home and you get older and you don't have a lot of money, well, you're still going to be taken care of as you're older, and you could have like an assisted living place you can stay in, and so you get help at that age as well. Also, if you've been working, you get a pension and things like that, and you don't have to pay. This is like number one. You don't have to pay for your medical bills and your medication. You have like a set small fee that you pay, and then you're good to go. Whereas if you're an older person in the States, if you didn't save well, there's probably not a lot of options for you, although I'm sure there's government programs in place. You do get Social Security, which is not guaranteed. Who knows if I'll get Social Security? No clue. And then, if you're unlucky in the lottery of life, you just happen to get cancer, boom, you're broke. And I think about my grandparents and the people that I care about and love, and think to myself, how can like Americans love their family members like this, and even ones in government, and then not think about like other people? It is. I know it's not going to be cheap for for America to do this, but to me, you should judge a society based on how it takes care of its people, and it's time for America to start taking care of its own. I'm very hopeful right now because with COVID hitting and so many Americans getting hit super hard financially and everything else, a lot of people in government had to really look at like, oh no, we got to take care of Americans. We got to give them a couple $1,000s because they need it for food and to survive. Making it so people just don't get kicked out of their homes willy-nilly, passing laws for that. And then on top of that, coronavirus vaccine is free. And for the first time, I think Americans are really seeing the benefit of having universal health care and taking care of people. And what's crazy to me about universal health care, if we argue about this, is that if you can take care of people when they're sick, they're good. Okay, think about this. You take care of them when they're kids, their parents can stay home, and then they don't have to stress about their college and student loans. They get more time off from work. And then when they're older, think about it. They're going to have less health problems than Americans do because Americans are constantly living with stress, constantly struggling. Not all Americans, but a decent portion of the population. And it just adds to the overall cost of healthcare. Because when you're busy, when you're stressed, and you're not working out, your body is just not in a good place. So arguably, like, we can talk about how much money it would cost and everything else if you're an American and you're against me on this. But when I really think about this, I think we have a vested interest in taking care of everyone. And I hear people say it all the time, like, no, lazy, lazy, lazy. I don't know about you, but like, I don't think people that need government assistance are necessarily lazy. I don't like that attitude because like, I don't think anybody would be happy about being in that situation. And I also think there's people that need help and we have to take care of them. So that's kind of my push with all this. I just hope that Americans can see this video and understand what I mean. Like, really imagine if you set someone up from childhood to adulthood, how much healthier they'd be, how much happier they would be. And if everybody that is American that's like against this, or I don't know, I just feel like, how do we not have a vested interest in taking care of our fellow human being? What happened that we lost this? Like, oh, well, you're a Democrat, oh, you're a Republican, and then all this fighting back and forth. How did we lose the fact of caring about other people? People can complain about high crime areas and everything else, but I guarantee you start taking care of the people in that area, you're gonna see a difference. You start giving people hope. Hey, you don't have to helping people pay for school. There's a lot of benefits that would come from taking care of fellow people, and it's something that Sweden does a much better job of. And Sweden's not perfect, and I agree. And I'm not saying that like one country is better than the other as far as like countries I enjoy to be in, but as far as taking care of people, Sweden definitely gets pretty high on my list, probably number one. Or at least one of the Scandinavian countries would be top one for happiness in the world. Sometimes it's Denmark, sometimes it's Norway. But yeah, so that's what I think. But I'm curious what you guys think. So let me know in the comments below. And try to be civil. Like, if you want to like yell at me and call me all this stuff, you can. But I'd rather just hear your opinion on why not, like in a constructive way, as opposed to like being in a hateful way. All right, guys? I'll see you in the next video.